High on a hilltop, the city of Jabesh Gilead trembled. Their enemy, the fierce Ammonites led by King Nahash, had surrounded them. The situation was dire. The Ammonites were a powerful force, and the people of Jabesh Gilead were afraid. They knew they couldn't withstand a siege for long. Their walls were strong, but their supplies were limited. Hope was dwindling with each passing hour. Nahash sent a chilling message to the city elders. He would offer them a covenant, a treaty, but it came with a barbaric price.
I will gouge out the right eye of every man and bring disgrace on all Israel.
Imagine the horror in the faces of the elders.
Please give us 7 days to seek help. If no one comes to our rescue, we will surrender to your demand.
Frantic messengers raced to Gibeah, Saul's hometown, carrying the dreadful news. Their faces were etched with urgency and fear as they knew the gravity of the message they bore. The fate of an entire city hung in the balance, and time was of the essence.
The city of Jabesh Gilead is under siege. The enemy forces, led by the ruthless Nahash, have surrounded the city, cutting off all routes of escape and supply. The people of Jabesh Gilead are trapped, their hopes dwindling with each passing hour. Nahash has issued a cruel ultimatum. He demands that the people of Jabesh Gilead surrender and submit to his brutal terms. If they refuse, they face annihilation. The ultimatum is clear: surrender within 7 days or face total destruction. If no one comes to help within 7 days, they will surrender and suffer disgrace. The villagers, knowing the horrors that await them, prepare for the worst. They send out desperate pleas for help, hoping against hope that someone will come to their aid.
The people of Gibeah were horrified. The news of Jabesh Gilead's plight spread like wildfire, igniting fear and panic. The thought of their fellow Israelites suffering such a fate was unbearable. They wept openly in the streets, their cries echoing through the town. Mothers clutched their children, and men bowed their heads in sorrow. The weight of impending doom was palpable. Overcome with fear and despair, the people of Gibeah could hardly think of a way out. The threat was too great, and the enemy too powerful. They felt helpless, caught in a web of terror. They knew the threat this posed to all Israelites. The fall of Jabesh Gilead would not be an isolated incident. It would signal the beginning of a larger campaign of terror and conquest. The entire nation was at risk. If Jabesh Gilead fell, they would be the next target. The people of Gibeah braced themselves for the worst, knowing that their own safety was precarious. They prayed for a miracle, for a savior to rise and deliver them from this nightmare. Saul, a tall, strong young man, was returning from the fields with his oxen when he encountered the commotion. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the landscape, and the air was filled with the sounds of nature winding down for the evening. Saul, with his broad shoulders and determined stride, was a picture of youthful vigor and strength. He had spent the day working hard, guiding his oxen through the fields, ensuring that the land was tilled and ready for the next planting season. As he approached the village, he noticed a group of people gathered, their faces etched with worry and fear. He saw the weeping, heard the cries of despair, and asked,
"What is wrong? Why are people crying?" His voice was calm yet commanding, a voice that demanded answers and offered comfort at the same time.
The villagers, seeing Saul's concern, began to explain. They told him of the Ammonite threat and the elders' desperate plea. The Ammonites, a fierce and ruthless enemy, had threatened to destroy their village, to take their lands and enslave their people. The elders had tried to negotiate, but their pleas had fallen on deaf ears. The villagers were terrified, unsure of what the future held. As Saul listened, something stirred within him. He could feel the weight of their fear, the desperation in their voices. He knew he had to do something. He couldn't stand by and watch his people suffer. He had always been a man of action, someone who believed in standing up for what was right. The Spirit of God rushed upon him in power. It was as if a fire had been ignited within him, a fire that burned with a righteous fury. He felt a surge of strength, a sense of purpose that he had never felt before. It was a divine calling, a mission that he knew he had to fulfill. His heart burned with righteous anger, and he felt a surge of courage. He clenched his fists, his jaw set in determination. He knew what he had to do. He would rally the people, gather an army, and face the Ammonites head-on. He would not let his people be destroyed. He would fight for them, protect them, and lead them to victory. The Spirit of God had stirred within him, and he was ready to answer the call. Section 5. A king rises in power. In the annals of history, few moments stand as pivotal as the rise of a king. Saul, a man chosen by divine will, was crowned amidst great ceremony and expectation. His ascent to power was not just a personal triumph, but a beacon of hope for a nation in turmoil.
This is what will happen to the oxen of anyone who does not follow Saul and Samuel to fight the Ammonites. The proclamation echoed through the streets, a stark warning to all who might hesitate. It was a call to unity, a demand for loyalty in the face of impending danger.
Saul acted decisively. In a time when hesitation could mean the downfall of a nation, Saul's swift actions were crucial. He understood the weight of his responsibility and the urgency of the threat posed by the Ammonites. He took his oxen, cut them into pieces, and sent messengers throughout the land. This act was not just a message, but a powerful symbol. The pieces of oxen served as a grim reminder of the consequences of inaction. It was a visual and visceral call to arms that could not be ignored. His bold action was a call to arms, a symbol of the fate that awaited anyone who refused to fight for their people. And the Israelites responded. They gathered in great numbers, their resolve strengthened by Saul's unwavering leadership. The sight of the assembled army was a testament to their collective will and determination. The Spirit of God moved upon them, uniting them in their fear of the Lord and their outrage at the Ammonite threat. In their prayers and preparations they found strength and purpose. The divine inspiration that flowed through them was a unifying force, binding them together in their common cause. The Israelites, once scattered and uncertain, now stood as a formidable force, ready to defend their land and their faith. The rise of Saul was not just the story of a man, but the story of a nation finding its strength. His leadership, marked by decisive action and divine favor, set the stage for a new chapter in the history of Israel. The people, inspired by their king and united by their faith, faced the future with renewed hope and determination. This was the beginning of a new era, one that would be defined by courage, unity, and the unwavering spirit of a people led by a king who rose to power in their time of greatest need. Section 6. A crushing defeat for Nahash. Saul organized the Israelite army, strategizing their attack. They fell upon the Ammonites suddenly, taking them by surprise. The Israelites, empowered by God and unified under Saul's leadership, fought with incredible strength and courage. The battle raged throughout the day, but the Israelites were relentless. By day's end, they had completely routed the Ammonite army, leaving Nahash's forces scattered and defeated. Section 7. Saul confirmed as king.
After their stunning victory, Samuel gathered the Israelites at Gilgal.
It was time to formally acknowledge what they had all witnessed. Saul was the one the Lord had chosen to be their king.
Before all the people, Samuel anointed Saul with oil, a visible sign of God's blessing and authority upon him.
The people erupted in celebration, shouting, "Long live the king!" Section 8. A new era for Israel. The victory at Jabesh Gilead marked the beginning of a new era for the Israelites. They had a king chosen by God who had united them against a common enemy. The fear that had gripped their hearts was replaced by hope and confidence. They had seen what they could accomplish when they worked together under God's leadership. A spirit of unity and strength pulsed through the tribes of Israel. Section 9. Unity and Courage. Lessons from Jabesh Gilead. The story of Jabesh Gilead is a powerful reminder of the importance of unity and courage. When the Israelites faced a common enemy, they put aside their differences and fought together. They responded to Saul's call to action, knowing that their survival depended on it. This unity, inspired by God and fueled by courage, led to a resounding victory. Section 10. The Hand of God in Human Affairs. The rescue of Jabesh Gilead also highlights the hand of God in human affairs. It was God who stirred Saul's heart, empowering him to lead. It was God who united the Israelites and gave them the strength to overcome their enemies. The victory was not achieved through human effort alone, but through the power and grace of God working through His people.